Alright, here we are back for another session. We'll continue where we left off, and let's see if we can do a little more training here. Let's go for it. We're starting this out the same way we started the last one. There's pretty much nothing there. Dealt straight. That's a setup. Pair of kings, nice. Got a pair of eights. So far, nothing unusual yet. Two pair. We always keep two pair. Pair of sixes. We have queen plus 3 to the flush. You will keep the queen plus 3 to the flush. The 8 is the penalty card there because you have straight interference. That bumps up significantly when you would drop the 3-4 of diamonds. So we're just going to hang on to the 3 to the flush because multipliers are pretty low here. Didn't get anything, but that's kind of a riskier play, but that's what you go for in this game. It's all about the multipliers. Have a ace there, nothing else special there. Pair of nines. Still nothing unusual here yet. Okay, I've been waiting for one of these hands to come up. So this is, we have a king plus 6-10 suited, 3 to the flush. And then we have jacks. We have king jack offsuit, but we also have king 6-10. This is one of those hands we can demonstrate. Because we have flush interference and a little bit of straight interference with the 10, this bumps up when you would go for the unsuited high pair over just the 3 to the flush. Because of the 10 is what dictates this, it's at 24. So we'll go ahead and we'll punch that in to illustrate it. This is jack 4. And on this hand, you would dump it and go for the offsuit high cards at 24. But because the multipliers are, in our case, they are only at 18, we're going to be keeping the 3 to the flush because of low multipliers. These hands actually come up quite commonly, and there's a couple different plays for them. We see another one, we'll explain it if we come across them. Here we have the ace with a penalty card too, but we have a 10. You will always keep the ace queen offsuit here because the ace has the flush penalty. If there wasn't low straight interference with the ace, even if the ace had a penalty, like let's say to well, you know what? Let's illustrate it. Let's just demonstrate that. Let's just show a better one way to explain here. So if you had let's say instead of the hand we have here, let's say we had, as an example, we had ace 6, queen 10, and then an 8. So as you can see, we would be keeping these offsuit up until, I believe the multiplier sum is, I believe is it 62? Yes, it's 62. Yes, it's going to be 62. And then we would just go for the ace. The reason being is because there's no low straight interference against the ace, even though that ace has a flush penalty. This is one of the only kind of trickier examples that doesn't have, where you have a flush penalty with ace and you still go for only ace. This is one of the only real exceptions to the rule. Otherwise, for the most part, you're keeping both most of the time, almost like 99% of the time, if there's a flush penalty involved. Just depends on the scenario. Pair of sevens. Open-ended straight. Always going for the open-ended straight. We have 3 to the flush. Again, we're keeping the 3 to the flush. We have a flush penalty 7. So technically we have straight interference and flush interference. That does bump it up. When you have cards that are closer to jack, like 7, 8, 9, or 10, it'll bump up when you go for just the jack over the 3 to the flush. Pair of kings. And also, too, if you have a flush penalty back on that hand with the jack, if you have a flush penalty, it does bump it up, too. Um, what I mean by that is if the card was flush penalty to the jack versus it not being flush penalty to it. Like if you have the 7 where it's a flush penalty to the jack, or just 7 not penalty to the jack but it's in the hand, that will also dictate at the multiplier which you would change your strategy as well. There's nothing here. Again, 3 to the flush. Pair of jacks. Pair of 9s. Just the king. 3 to the royal. Just king, queen off suit. Nothing too tricky here yet. Open-ended straight. Always open-ended straight over the high card. Doesn't matter what the high card is. Trying to fill the straight so you keep all 3 off suit. Four to a flush. Hilarious. Okay, again, we talked about this a little bit last time. We have ace. We have ace with 3 to the flush. Because we have 2 and 4 in the hand, so we do have the straight interference with the ace. It bumps up when you would go for just the ace over the ace plus the 3 of the flush. Because we have 2-4, this would be ace at 35. So in our case, because we have no multipliers and we're below 35, obviously, we're going to be keeping the 3 to the flush. Pair of 10s. Bad for a pair of 10s. Ochos. Just the ace. Pair of 10s again. Pair of kings. King, queen suited. Wow. Here's one for you. So here you have, you do have Jack 10 suited with a 4 spade penalty, but you also have an inside straight. The play currently is to go for the inside straight. At a higher multiplier sum, you would go for just Jack 10. We can go ahead and demonstrate that as well. So let's go ahead and pull that up here. This is a kind of a stranger one as well. Jack 10 hands can get a little weird. Jack 10 suited hands, I should say. Okay. So you can see currently as we have no multipliers, so we're going to go for that inside straight. Now, if we were over, it looks like, let's see where this changes exactly. Looks like at 39. At 39 here, we would just be going for the Jack 10 suited. This is also dictated by 7-8 in the hand. If it was 7-10 or 9-10, it would change the value at which we would go for just Jack 10 over that straight. Just the king there. Nothing special there. Just the jack. 4 to a flush. Maybe this time we can get one. Hey! Here you go. You have a double inside straight flush draw. Always going to keep that. 9s again. Open-ended straight. At least we got it where it mattered. Pair of 9s. Just the jack. 2, 3. Nope, nothing else there. Alright, here's one of those hands where you literally have nothing that people would typically throw away, but you have 3 to the flush. If you don't have an inside straight, and you have just, say, 3 to the flush, you're always going to keep the 3 to the flush over nothing. This is pretty much always the play. Because the 10x multiplier is too valuable. I don't know if this applies in a game where let's say the flush pays less It probably still does, just because you're betting double to get the multiplier, so I'd imagine you'd probably still keep it over nothing. A lot of people would be tempted to throw this out, but it actually is the incorrect play. I'm using diamonds here instead of hearts, but you can see no matter what, you always keep that 3 to the flush over nothing. And that's usually what happens. And that's why a lot of people don't want to keep that, because they feel like they're throwing the hand away. Here's another one of those hands where you have 3 to the flush and 2 offsuit high cards. There's no 9 or 10 in this hand. There's no 9 or a 10. So in this case, because there's no 9 or 10, at 15 is when is the changeover on this hand. We can demonstrate that as well. So let's clear this out. We got queen, 4-3, and then king 7. As you can see, because if you had no multipliers, you would keep the 3 to the flush. But again, there's no straight interference here other than the 2 offsuit high cards. So at 15 here, you would go for the queen, king offsuit. Again, this being no 9 or no 10 in the hand. We talked about this one at nauseum kind of last time. Again, ace 10 jack. This is not the strongest pull to the royal. So you will always keep this even with that 4th flush penalty card there, that 7 of clubs. You're always going to keep these 4 to the flush because, again, it's not a strong pull to the royal. And you can also still achieve a jacks or better plus the flush. Again, we have a flush penalty to the ace, so we're always keeping both high cards here, even though they're offsuit. 2 pair, keeping the 2 pair. Pair of kings. Pair of 6s. Again, pair of 6s. Open-ended straight. Just an ace. Again, 2 pair. Always keeping 2 pair. Here's that scenario again where we have a 10 involved and a 3 to the flush. This time we're going for the queen king offsuit because we're above 24. So this is the correct hold this time around, as opposed to before where multipliers were low, so we kept both to try to fill the flush. Pair of jacks. Jack 10. This is probably a hand that a lot of people probably play wrong. Double bonus, it's always Jack 10 over king, as long as there's no flush penalty with Jack 10. So if you just have, let's say, Jack 10 like we have, let's punch this in. And then we'll throw the king in there. As you can see, no matter what, it's always going to be Jack 10 over just the king. Always, always, always. Again, it's the same thing with Jack 10 over ace as well. Same scenario. If Jack 10 and queen comes up, we'll talk about that one because that one's a little different. Again, we're keeping 2 pair always, even with aces. Back to our, we talked about this a little earlier, 3 to the flush. We're keeping 3 to the flush over nothing because there is no inside straight. If we had inside straight, we'd be picking that over the 3 to the flush. But that's all we had, so that's what we're going for. Pair of 9s. Pair of 4s. 2 pair. Pair of 2s. Just an ace. Some 5s. So this is one of those hands that you would keep 8-9. Multipliers are too high. You're probably saying, wait, 8-9? Why would you keep 8-9? Well, we'll go ahead and we'll bring that up here. This is a hand that I don't think many people are even aware of even exist. So let's punch it in exactly how we have it here. Okay, so apparently we're not going for 8-9 in this scenario. Probably because of the 5. Maybe if it was 2-3-4, we would. Let's change this to a 4 just for curiosity. But this is a great time to talk about this example. Okay, here we go. So if it's 2-3-4, 8-9 does come into play. I guess 2-3-5 is too. It is probably too close for interference. So if you had 2-3-4 here, 8-9 becomes into play. And it actually comes into play a little bit up here, up to, I think it's up to 14. I think at 15 it cuts off, yeah. So if you had no multipliers here, as you can see, this is one of those hands that people I don't think even know exists. As you can see, if we had 14 or below and you had 2-3-4, 8-9 would be an option for you because you can fill a straight, you can fill a straight flush. If it was 9-10, it's a much higher target than 8-9. So in our situation, because we have the 5, which doesn't matter, we're just going to dump this. Here we go. We have a double inside straight flush versus 2 high cards off suit. This is, believe it or not, this is actually the double inside straight flush because the multiplier sum is too low. I believe we're at 15 here. Again, you're counting each hand that doesn't have a multiplier as 1. So 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 3, so 15. You have to be at 21 here to go for the ace-king offsuit. If there was a 10 in the hand, it would become ace at 23. But because there's no 10, we'll demonstrate this one as well. We're going to be going for this double inside straight flush. So let's go ahead and punch this in as well. As you can see, we're at a sum of 15. We're keeping that. And like I said, at 21, we would go for the ace-king offsuit. This is one of those hands that has actually 3 plays. So at 21, you go for ace-king offsuit. Below, you go for the double inside straight flush. And at 44, you would go for just the ace. So this is a hand that has 3 plays, as you can see. In our case, because we're only at 15, we're going to go for that double inside straight flush, and we're going to hope we fill a straight or a flush. Again, that's how those things go. You're not always guaranteed anything in this game, so queens. 4, 5. We have double inside. Nope. There's no 9 or 10 here, so you're not even going to consider the double inside straight flush over the queen-king offsuit. 4 to a flush. Okay, that makes up for a couple of the last flushes where we didn't get much. Open-ended straight. Again, always keeping that. This is an interesting hand. You have double inside straight flush, but you also have a queen with a flush penalty. The play here is the queen. Even though you have straight interference from the 8 or 9, let's demonstrate this hand as well, because this is a tricky one too. A double inside straight flush versus an open-ended straight versus a queen high. Let's see here. Let's reset the multipliers here, and let's punch this one in. All right. So you would go for this double inside straight flush over the queen high if you had no multipliers. It's going to have a breaking point here, probably around 15, 16. Yeah. Because you have flush interference from the queen because the 8 of spades, but you also have straight interference with the 9 of diamonds. That's kind of why you bump this play up. Again, you'd have to have low multipliers based on the the flush interference, straight interference. But I'll tell you this: you'll never go for the inside straight in this situation. You never do. So if you have a double inside straight flush and you have like a high card like this, you'll never go for the inside straight over it. Not in 9-6-4 at least. Maybe at 9-6-5, I'd have to check that in full pay, but not in 9-6-4. In our case, we're just going to go for the queen because we're above 16 here. Multipliers are way too high here to not just be going for the queen. So sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Pair of aces. Gonna open it straight. You're gonna obviously keep the straight that has the most high cards, not the like 9, 10, king, queen. You're gonna keep the one with the the most high cards. So if you have 3 high cards and a 10, you're gonna keep those over say 2 high cards plus 9, 10. It's just more chances to fill jacks are better. You don't keep king ace suited over that either. You never do that. You always will keep this. There are some caveats that involve queen jack suited, but not anything else. Not king, queen, not king, ace, not ace, jack, nothing else. Nope. Nothing there. Okay. Now here's the other hand we were talking about. When I was talking about Jack 10 suited or Jack Queen offsuit or whatever, this is the hand I was talking about here. Jack Queen 10, you're gonna always keep this offsuit, on suit, unless it's Queen Jack suited. You will not keep the 10. There would have to be other factors involved, like such with an ace or an 8 or a 9, but usually it revolves around having an ace. But because we have Queen Jack offsuit, we're almost always going to keep the 10. And we're going to keep that 10 quite a ways, actually. It gets up into the high 100 plus multipliers some before we would get rid of that 10. But because this is the strongest pull to a straight that you can have, that's why we're going to be keeping this for quite a ways, actually, believe it or not. I don't know if a lot of people are even aware this play exists, but this is the proper play. And you can see this goes up well into over 100. I think it's around 107 or something. Yeah, it's way up there. Nope, it's at 106. So at 106, you can see we dropped the 10. In our case, we're only at 40, so we're still going to keep the Queen Jack 10 off suit because we're still at 40. And that's why you keep it, so you can try to fill the straight. Pair of queens. Don't keep Queen 10 over Queen King off suit. Pair of jacks. We have an inside straight with the ace. So this is ace at 32 because there is no flush penalty to ace and there is no 10. And our multiplier sum is 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 17, 20, 24, 26. So we're going to keep this. And that's why we keep it, to pull a straight. Not the greatest, but not the worst. Pair of kings. All right, we're still going there. Just the king here. Some eights, king ace off, king ace suited. Sometimes it's hard to talk. Threes. I got quad threes. That's good. Open-ended straight. Always keeping that. Nines. Oh, I got threes there. Almost didn't see those threes. Two pair. Pair of kings. Pair of queens. Pair of aces. Machine's starting to show a little bit of life. Throwing a little bit of some hands at us here. Again, you're going to keep all four high cards here. You're not just keeping ace jack suited over queen king. You're going to always try to fill that straight. Kings again. Aces. We're kind of clawing our way back here. Maybe down a little bit. We're starting to make a comeback. Pair of kings. Pair of jacks. Over the 3 royal, always, yes. Some people are tempted to do that, but it's not the right play. Just the king here. Pair of aces again. King, queen over ace. So here's that scenario we talked about earlier, where I talked about the involvement with the 10. This would be ace at 62, but because we're low on the multipliers, we're going to keep both to still hopefully fill a jacks or better, a 3 of a kind, a 4 of a kind, a straight, full house. But we're keeping them both still because obviously multipliers are low, even though we have the flush penalty. Again, this is one of those instances where you would actually still keep ace by itself, even with a flush penalty, if multipliers were high enough, again at 62. This is 2 suited high cards plus 1. This is 32 because there's no 9, 10, or other high card. So this is, you would drop the 8 of hearts at 32. see, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. So you have, okay, so here's another hand for some people would really mess up or probably play incorrectly. We have a double inside straight flush. And we also have an inside straight. The correct play here is the double inside straight flush over the inside straight. Because the straight only pays 20, and the 10x multiplier you get on the flush and the flush paying 30 is why you would keep this. And actually, you would always keep this. There isn't a time when you would not keep this. This is always the play. I believe at the flush paid less, you would probably go for the inside straight, but in our case, because the flush paying 30 and the straight paying less, and we're not playing a full paid game, I believe that's why you would always go for that. As you can see, even with multipliers are maxed, it's double inside straight flush all the way over just the inside straight. Again, we're not doing too. We're batting 1,000 with those tonight. King Jack suited. Again, both because the penalty with the ace. Sixes. Sixes again. Fours. Yeah, we're above the multiplier there. You'd have to be above 13 there. The king would be at 13. Otherwise, you would go for the inside straight against that king because you have the flush penalty with the 4 of spades there. But we're above that threshold, so pair of kings. Open-ended straight. That's not bad. King off suit. So this is yeah, double inside straight flush versus Jack ace suited. You're never going to go for the double inside straight flush against the 2 suited high cards. Never, never, never. There's no scenario where you do, so this is always the correct play. And you're not going to try to go for the inside straight either. And there's nothing there. 2, 4, 5, no. Nothing there. We talked about a similar hand to this earlier. You have Jack plus 3 of the flush, but you also have an inside straight draw. We're going to be going for the inside straight draw there. You would go for that 3 to the flush. I believe it's around 39 or it's either 39 or 49. It's around there. And then you would, from there, in the 90s, you would go for just the Jack. I believe it's around 94. Somewhere around there. 10s. Just a Jack, nothing special there. Some 2s. 3 to the royal. Not keeping the 9. You're never going to do that. Pair of jacks. Queen Jack off suit. Okay, so we have ace 3 to the flush, but we also have queen. Because you have 3 to the flush here, and it's with the ace, at 31, you would go for both the queen and the ace, and you'll always keep queen ace after that, because the ace has the 3 to the flush penalty. We'll go ahead and we'll just demonstrate that as well. This is always at 31. Let's see here. Ace, what do we got? 4, 9. And then queen 5. Back this up. So as you can see, our multipliers currently are only at 15. It looks like, was that? Yeah, 15. So we're keeping the 3 to the flush because multipliers are low. Again, at 31, we would be going for both the unsuited high cards. And we would always go for both the unsuited high cards after that because of the 3 to the flush interference here. 6s. 6s again. A lot of 6s tonight. Queens. 8s. The ochos. This would be ace king at 72. There's no 10 and there's no other high card. This is one of those instances where you will keep the 3 to the flush here until 72 because there isn't any other interference from a 10 or a high card. If you had a 10, it would be 101. If you had another high card, you would always keep the 3 to the flush no matter what, unless you had a straight draw, for example, if you had 2 more high cards or a 10. with a high card. So like if you had ace, king, 6, and then you had like queen 10, you would just go for the straight. But in this case, you're always going for this until 72. Really striking out with these flush draws, though. 2, 4, 6, that's ace at 69 because of this low straight interference from 2, 4. 6s again. Jack 9, 4, keeping 3 to the flush because the 10 and the 9. Nothing else special about that hand. Oh, 2 straights. Ace 4, 5, keeping that straight flush draw. Wow. Really bad on the straight flush draws tonight. Inside straight draw here. Third ace at 32 because there's no flush penalty and no 10. 6s again. I mean, if it wants to just deal us quad 6s, that'd be fantastic. Kings. King again. Pair of 9s. Ace, queen. Penalty card to the ace again. Always keeping both. Some 3s. Some ochos, por favor. They came through with the 6s. Queen, jack over ace, always. Ace, queen offsuit because the penalty. Just the king. Ochos, por favor. Not so much that time. Queen, jack again over the ace. Aces. 10s. Jack 10, 6. Okay, so this is one of those ones where you have Jack 10 plus 1. Because there's no 7, 8, or 9 in this hand, it changes when you would go for the Jack 10 versus the Jack 10 plus 1 trying to fill the flush. In our situation, I believe this is 17 because there's no straight interference here. There's just flush interference. Actually, in our hand, it's probably Jack 10. Let's see, 8, 3. I believe we're at going to be the Jack 10 and not holding the 3 of the flush here. Pretty sure on that. All right, let's put our multiplier sum to where we're at here. We're at 7, 10. We're at 18. And yep, at 18, we would be going for just the Jack 10. Below 18, we're going to keep the 3 to the flush. Oops. So we need to not hold that 6 and just go for the Jack 10 suited here. Ochos again. Okay, full house on those. Okay, pair of kings. Some 7s. Ochos again. Some 3s. King off suit, nothing else. Ace 3, 2, 4. So, in this play, we'll make this the last hand. So in this hand, this is Queen Ace at 41. But in the meantime, it's actually the inside straight. Even though there's no flush penalty here to that ace, this is one of those hands that has 3 different plays. And we'll run by all 3 of them. So let's just kind of punch that in. So we got Queen, 2, 3, 4, and then we got Ace. All right, so as you can see, we're going to do for the inside straight up until 41. And at 41, we go for both the Queen and the Ace offsuit high cards. 2, 3, and 4, this is Ace, I believe, at 109 is when you would go for the Ace here. Let's see, let's go to 108. And then there you go, Ace at 109. Because we have so much straight interference with 2, 3, 4 being so close to Ace, we're keeping Ace for Ace Queen, well, after 41 for quite a while because of that low straight interference. 2, 3, 4 is the closest you're going to get, the most interference you can get, other than having a flush penalty where you would keep it all the time. Let's spin these multipliers off. And a pair of kings. I hope this video was informative, and again, we'll continue this series as time permits, and we'll investigate and explore some more tricky hands. I'll see you next time.